in my city, and it's like that.
What's good, YouTube? I'm back. It's your man Osh from the Ghost with another episode of Osh Knows. This will be our first podcast, and since I'm just kind of doing it on the fly and I wanted to get something out there to you, I'm going to be telling a story today. So today my story is going to be about how I even got started in all this music in the first place.
Baby, drop beside me, police don't ride me, but I don't like a me. Listen, check that shit like Nike. Take it up a level, take it up a level, up a level. Take it up a level, take it up a level, up a level. Baby, drop beside me, police
So I
don't
grew up listening to hip hop. My dad's a cowboy. So I mean, we grew up in Wyoming, so my dad listened to country and stuff like that growing up. And as I got older, maybe preteen, teens, stuff like that, you know, and I started being able to make up my mind more. The kind of music I liked, it always went more toward rap. You know what I mean? So a lot of my early stuff that I listened to was like Bone Thugs, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, stuff like that. So that was the foundation of what I was doing. And then as I got older, I started listening to like Tupac, Dr. Dre, Eminem. Then the next phase, I went into like Tech Nine and more Midwest rap. And then I got older, and for a period there, I went to prison from 21 to almost 26 years old. So during a majority of that time, a lot of the people who I was in the joint with, they know I didn't even listen to rap for the last few years, the last couple years at least. For the whole time I was in there, I kind of went more towards metal. I started getting into metal, you know what I mean? I had a couple cellies that were metal heads or metal influence or whatever, so you know, they kind of put me on a little bit. I started listening to System of a Down and Slipknot, Machine Head, Rage Against the Machine, things like that was like the foundation of my rock and metal stuff. But I went with that for a long time, and then I got out and got all steroided out and hung out with a bunch of yoked out white dudes and listened to a lot of metal for a minute. So anyway, I say all that to say this. When I started in music, I was at a party with my baby's mom and a few homies, and the homies were all faded freestyling, and everybody was getting it. And we was all standing there, you know what I mean, listening, and my baby mom was all faded, and she's trying to like put me on the spot, just like talking shit, not really even like expecting anything, just kind of talking shit. She's like, "Where's your raps at, babe? Where's your raps at?" Not knowing I grew up with all these dudes who were freestyling at this party, and I used to do that too when I was younger. When to be able to say you was a rapper, you had to be able to freestyle off the top of your head. So anyway, I start going, bust probably about, I don't know, maybe like 10, 12 bars or whatever, and everybody's like, you know what I mean? This is that post-prison phase, and a lot of people didn't even know I really like was into rap or nothing like that, so it kind of took everybody, shocked them. I showed up for my homie J Pounds at a different homie's house, and we was sitting there chilling, smoking, posted up all day, and the homie J Pounds, he's cruising through beats on his laptop. He's like, "What you think of this beat? What you think of this beat? What you think of this beat? What you think of this beat?" I was like, "Yeah, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. Yeah, that one's a banger." He's like, "Cool, boom. You're writing a verse to this. We're gonna make a song." So it was me, J Pounds, and Caponyx at Caponyx's first ghetto ass studio in Northside. It was so raggedy, so gross, so ghetto. But anyways, me, J Pounds, Caponyx, wrote a song right there called Too Smooth, I think is what the name of it was. But that literally sparked what became my whole career, you know what I mean? So that, and then a dude that I grew up with, he was my best friend growing up, was one of my sister's baby's dads. At the time, he was working on an album, and he was inviting me to be on his album, to feature on it. He goes, "Give me 2 beats, write to both of them, and when I go to the studio to Denver, we're going to go down here, we're going to record it, they're going to mix it and master it down there, so we got quality, blah, blah, blah." I'm all pumped. Boom. Wrote him 2 verses, tell him, he's like, "All right, well, I'm slacking, will you write me a hook?" I wrote him a hook to a song called Just Vibin', I think is the name of the song. I wrote my verse, the hook, and then my verse to a different song. So I send them off to him, you know, just recorded it, you know, with my phone, blah, blah, recorded it, rapping to the beat and sent it to him. He didn't tell me he went to Denver to the studio. He recorded his whole album, He used the hook, didn't use any of my verses because I didn't go, obviously. But at the time, it was, I mean, it's still, I really don't care at this point. It's been so long. But at the time, I was like a super fan because this was my best friend growing up. And he was my favorite, to be honest, you know what I mean? In all honesty, at the time, he was, to me, he was the one, you know what I mean? So it was all love, all support. He was my best friend, you know what I mean? Whatever. But that was kind of the end of us really hanging out because I went over to Caponyx's and started making project. You know, by the time I made maybe my second project, I hadn't really even communicated with him anymore at that point. So that's how it started. So now how it went after that, I was going to Douglas to record my project. My name is Osh with Caponyx, and I had met through other person that I don't associated with is a person who actually started my label, Blueprint Linguistics. The dude who started that label, I also have no association with. You know what I mean? And it was actually his label. And at some point through business and work and effort and everything, I ended up with everything in my lap. So anyway, I've been going down to Douglas to work on my album with Caponyx, and through all that, through mutual people, I had been introduced to Rick Bliss. He went to Caponyx's. They worked on a song together. I loved it. So we all set up a time for us all to meet up to just chill and meet and all that stuff. And, you know, I went over, Caponyx was my bro already at this point, and I'd never met Rick. And the first thing Cody says, Caponyx, first thing he says is, bro, he's huge. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, bro, this dude's huge. And at the time, we're all younger. I think I was like 27, 28 at the time. So Rick was probably like 24, you know what I mean? I don't know, maybe 23, 24, something like that. Anyway, Rick comes in, and that's the first thing I remember thinking in my head was, damn, this dude's huge. He took up the whole door frame just walking in this bad boy, and he was young. But anyway, that was my first impression of Rick. So I give him their praise on this song that they dropped because I passed on it. Caponyx sent it to me when he was all drunk on the phone, you know, just recorded it on the phone. And this is in all honesty, Cody knows this, Rick knows this, I've told them both. I did not like the way it sounded when Cody sent it to me on the phone. So I was like, nah, bro, I'm good. Passed on it. Rick comes in, hops on it with him, kills it. I love the song. I was super mad, so I never passed up a feature after that. So anyway, I meet Rick, me, him, Cody. We all go on a drive out in the hills above Douglas. I don't know what they're called, but we go out there driving. I'm smoking, they're drinking. We're just having a good time vibing, and literally locked in brothers since day one.
It's a thing, yeah. It's a thing, yeah.
So that's the story of how I met Rick Bliss. That's my brother. Caponyx, that's my brother. That's the people who I started in this music journey with heavy. Like it was solo before that when I was doing my own little thing, just kind of trying to mess around as a hobby, trying to figure out my lane, you know what I mean? Because more or less, I was just the guy who knew everybody in the scene. I wasn't the rapper, you know what I mean? I was the dude who was just friends with everybody. Oh, you need shirts? I know a guy. Oh, you need this? I know a guy. You need stickers? I know a guy. You need whatever? I know a guy. I was that guy first, but up until I found my brothers and the formation of Blueprint Linguistics, it was just I was just the homie who had bars, you know what I mean? I didn't have a lane in this rap game until I met them. We started Blueprint Linguistics. Rick dropped an album, The Tutorial. I dropped My Name is Osh shortly after, #BumpOsh. Caponyx dropped a project. Cody, I'm sorry, I cannot remember the name of the project at the time. Life's a Trip, maybe that's what it was. Anyway, the song's fire. It had hella songs on it that I loved. But anyway, long story short, that's how I started in this. If you like Osh's stories on Osh Knows, we could go back into it. I could go back into when I met Nike, Casey and LB, Velo. I went to school with her in middle school. All kinds of people, you know. And to be honest with you, there are some people in the local scene who were around, who started stuff that because of our current association, I'm not really going to speak their names. I'm not going to talk down on nobody. The most I'm ever going to say is we don't associate with each other anymore because this is the way I look at this. Local rappers, if you're beefing and you're not doing this, you're whack. Reason being is because most of the time, 9 times out of 10, we know each other. We could hit each other up on any social media platform. And if you ain't down to meet up, I ain't doing no rap beef shit. That's my point to that. I'm not going to be on my podcast talking about nobody. Whatever anybody else says on this podcast, that's out of their mouth. That's on them. I'm only in control of me and what I say. I got love for my scene in Casper, in Wyoming, and all the bridges I've built to Cheyenne to Rock Springs to Gillette to the Res where I was born at. You know what I mean? To Montana, Colorado, Nebraska, South Dakota, all the surrounding states, to Nevada, to where me and Rick went and recorded one of our albums, to California, where I got people at right now. You know, I've had people playing my tracks. You know what I mean? So I got love for people, all those places, when they're helping bring up the scene. You know what I mean? When I started Rapper's Delight, that was the whole point of it, was to build the scene, to make it inclusive, to make everybody pop. So once again, Osh from the Ghost, Osh Knows, podcast, vlog, stories. We're going to get into this. I got lots of stories. I've been to prison. I've been in this music thing. I was a little, run around, little dumbass kid. I got multiple felonies and misdemeanors. Any stories you want to hear? Let's go. Like, comment, subscribe. Get ready. Stay tuned for another episode. Let's go. Osh Knows.
Coldest in my city, and it's like that.